Welcome, everybody, to the Table Rush Talk Show. I'm your host, Misha Zvagintsev. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Bryan McAnulty, the founder of Heights Platform. Bryan is a seasoned designer, developer, and entrepreneur who has been in the industry since 2009. He's here to share invaluable insights on leveraging AI to grow your business and transform your ideas into impactful realities. We dive deep into how AI can revolutionize your entrepreneurial journey, and he gives us hands-on examples of how we can use ChatGPT to do amazing, incredible things. This interview was so eye-opening. So get ready for an enlightening conversation with Bryan McAnulty. Let's dive in. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Misha.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about Heights Platform, about how you're leveraging AI. Why don't you give us a quick a frame of what's going on, what you're excited about right now?
Sure. As far as AI goes, AI has changed my life, and I think that it's incredible, and I feel bad to see when people don't understand how impactful it can be for them. So I want to kind of share everything here. I have nothing to hold back because I want people to be successful. And if you're a creator, if you're selling a course, a community info product type thing, then the more successful I can help you be, then ideally the more you'll use my software, the longer you'll use it, right? So I'm here to share everything about that. Heights Platform, we're an online course creation and community building software. And so we are this all-in-one solution for creators to build these knowledge businesses. And we are this AI-powered platform. As soon as AI and everything became more generally available, we kind of went all in on that because there are these ideas that we've had for a long time. And we were just thinking, well, how could this ever be possible? And there was no way to do it until AI existed. And so now we're the only platform that gives creators their own AI assistant and their own AI coach, because most of our customers are solopreneurs. And we thought about it, and it's like the first two people that the average solopreneur would want to hire is like a virtual assistant and a coach. So we thought, well, how can we give you those through AI? Like, how can we, if we were going to be able to coach everyone with everything that we knew, how could we scale that? And so that's what we kind of do with Heights AI Chat and Heights AI Coach. And I want to share throughout this interview what I believe is like the right way and wrong way to use AI, because I think there are people who are using it the wrong way and people who are not impressed with it because they've only heard about the wrong way. And the right way involves more treating it as this assistant or teammate that can actually help you with things rather than just telling it, hey, write me a blog post or something like that. Because if you ask the AI to write you things, it's junk. It has no context with what you're doing. And the mistake people make is they don't give AI the right context. So talking to ChatGPT for the first time is the equivalent of walking to somebody on the sidewalk who has no idea who you are and saying, do this thing for me. And so they don't have an idea that you have a business, that they're supposed to be an employee of the business, that they have this certain role. And even if you say those basic things, if you think about an actual teammate or person that you've worked with, there's all this knowledge and context that's kind of like implied and already known about between that relationship. And ChatGPT knows none of that, but you can teach it and you have to write that down. So if you are somebody listening to this, if you want to figure out how AI can work for you better, if you feel like you haven't kind of figured out that secret yet, that it's not providing you this like life-changing value, then I would say the first best step to think about is how can you give AI the right context? So that is like, if you're good at writing out like a standard operating procedure for a teammate or something to delegate a task that you have, those skills are really helpful for working with AI, because you don't have to learn programming or some kind of special like magic communication. It's just writing it out and writing out all those steps. And the secret of understanding how to make it work the right way is that it's good with simple specialized tasks. And with people look at ChatGPT, they say, okay, I've got an AI assistant, great. But you don't have just one AI assistant. You can have as many as you want. So why stop there? So think about all the different tasks that you have and break them down into these specialized things. If there's something you have to do repeatedly, if there's something you would want to do repeatedly, but you don't have the time to do or think about, then just write out that process. And once you've clearly defined it, it takes work to do that, but then you can have AI help you with that. So that's the basics of some of what I'd like to share today, and some of what Heights AI Chat and Heights AI Coach can kind of help do for you.
That is amazing. You opened up so much, so many good thoughts, so many, gosh, what am I trying to say? My mind is racing. I think what I want to start with, though, is just let's go bare bones. Give me 2 or 3 minutes on, Heights platform. Like walk me through it quick. Somebody creates a course, this is how it works. So then we can go, great, now here's how you can leverage AI. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. So Heights platform, it is this all-in-one solution. So if you want to create an online course, a challenge, a membership community, a coaching program, you can do that with Heights platform. It can be your whole website. You can build web pages with it. You can build the courses, the login area, student analytics. We've got gamification. So kind of my thought behind why we even started building this before AI and all that existed was that there are all these social media tools out there, and they're designed to just keep your attention, keep you glued to the screen so they can show you more ads. And I saw all these digital marketers who have this great content, the great things to teach, but then, especially when we first built Heights platform, they would sell you the course, and then it's just like videos behind the paywall. It's the student experience is really lacking. And then they would say, oh, well, we'll put you in the Facebook group too. And that's completely disconnected from everything. And you got all the distractions that are on social media. So my thinking was, well, how can we help improve learning? Because people teaching these courses and marketing these courses, they've got something great to share, but they're not necessarily like expert instructional designers, or from a technical standpoint, understanding how to build a better experience for students and their learners. So I thought, well, why can't we take principles from social media to keep your attention like glued to the screen and use those principles to help people learn? And so that's kind of some of the fundamental ideas of how Heights was born, of taking things like gamification and everything to give the student a better sense of progression, and then connecting it to community built into the platform. So it's not like you have to go to a separate Facebook group or something to interact with people, and applying different things in the design and everything. So that way you as a creator, you get to focus on just sharing what you know without worrying about the instructional design part, without worrying about the technical part. So you can create these courses, build websites for them, collect payments, all of that. It's all done within Heights platform. And we also believe it's important to not charge creators transaction fees, because there's some platforms where they're free or something like this, and they say, oh, it's just a transaction fee. But once you actually start seriously earning money from it, the transaction fees are ridiculous, how much you'd be paying to use these platforms. And so we are just a flat monthly fee, and everything's included. There's no like secret add-ons or other things like that. No transaction fees. You just pay the monthly fee, and then you have Heights platform. And so where AI comes into play now is, you might think, okay, well, you just told me that having AI write things for you is bad. So what, you're going to have AI make a course for me, then what? And we're not going to do that. Exactly. So if AI was going to make the whole course for you, then it's essentially worthless, because the value that you have as a creator and as an entrepreneur is your unique message and your unique experiences. And this is the thing that I love about online course businesses and knowledge businesses in general. If you're selling like a product on Amazon, some kind of random widget, chances are you're competing with a bunch of other people who are selling exactly the same thing. And so there's almost no way to compete except like you make the description a little bit better, take a little bit better picture, and then it's just price. You have to just be cheaper or something like that. But with an online course, you can have a lot of people teaching about a similar topic, but nobody is you. So nobody can have the same exact product that you're offering, because nobody has your experiences and your message. And that's why you can't use ChatGPT to make your course, because it's going to be the same exact course for everybody. And then like the value just drops to zero real quick. And so the value you have as a creator is your unique message, and then being able to provide a community for everyone of like-minded people who want to learn about these different things. So how does AI help? Then what we do is Heights AI Chat and Heights AI Coach. We have the AI Chat first. It can do some things you might expect, like answering questions about how to use Heights platform, telling you where to go to find certain things. But we went a step further with that, because it's one thing if the AI can help you like get support answers faster, but we actually made it so Heights AI can go and do those things for you. So instead of asking it, where do I click to go and publish my course? You can just say, go publish my podcasting course. And then it's going to show you a little box that says, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Does that sound good? And you just click OK. And so I think that while we're one of the first companies to do something like this is going to be how people use a lot of software in the future, that you don't even have to learn the software anymore. You just ask the AI to do the things that you want. And so we treat Heights AI Chat more as like your assistant to help you brainstorm, help you do things quicker. You can ask it marketing questions, things like that. And with what we have as a course generator feature, what that will do is you put in the title of your course, and the first thing it's going to do is give you feedback on that title and explain how you can better communicate the specific result you're going to offer to your students. Because if anybody's interested in course creation, what I tell everybody is you have to be really clear on your result. And that kind of applies to a lot of different kinds of businesses, that nobody wants to buy a course. They want to buy a result and transformation. And so Heights AI helps explain how you might change your title a little bit to better reflect that result. And it's based on like our knowledge and what we would tell creators as well. And then while it does that, and while you're reading that, it comes up with an outline and lesson curriculum, a description for your course, and then it'll even go and find a cover image on Unsplash that's like related to your topic. And you can go through and edit those things and then click generate, and it sets up the whole course for you in Heights platform with the outline. It's not going to write the content, but it gives you the outline. And this is helpful because you're the one who has the right messaging. So now you can take all of that, and now instead of thinking about what do I talk about next? What's the next lesson here? Or what is the right amount of content here? You've got this outline to start from. And that's a really much easier way to start making content rather than sitting with a blank slate and wondering, okay, what am I going to teach here? But having it broken down into these different lessons. And then what we do is, I think AI shouldn't write for you, but it can be a great partner for brainstorming, a great partner for reviewing the work that you do. And now, actually, this is kind of a newer feature since we've last talked. We have Heights AI lesson review. So when you go and you make that lesson now, you put in your content, you upload a video, Heights AI can review that for you, and it'll actually watch the video as well, and then see that in context of your whole course, and then be able to tell you, okay, here's some suggestions. Here are some potential student questions, like questions students might ask about it. Here are some potential action items you might want to suggest students take when they complete the lesson. And it'll give you all that. And I was so impressed once we got this working, because like I've built courses before and I feel like I know what I'm doing with this. I've helped over 10,000 creators now do this. And I put in some of our lessons and it gave me this great feedback. And I said, wow, that makes sense. We could actually improve that part. And so the goal here is that as a creator, and especially for those who are like worried about, oh, my content's not perfect yet, I don't want to show it to anybody. I don't know what to do here, but I know I need to figure out what's the next step. You can get feedback from Heights AI first, and then use that to refine your lessons. And then hopefully get it out there, get some real feedback, and launch with a course that's already starting from a better position.
That is awesome. Do you have any stories yet of your creators, people who are utilizing Heights platform that have taken advantage of these tools and gotten any feedback, real-time feedback?
Yeah. So I feel like AI is so new still that like, even though like it's been such a hyped thing in the last year or so, there's so many people who are still not using it to its potential. And I see that we have these customers who are, and I feel like everyone else is missing out, that like there's so much you could be doing here. And So one story is the other part of this is Heights AI Coach, and that acts as like your coach of how you're going to market and grow. And this is unique and different from something like ChatGPT because you can ask ChatGPT to be a coach for you, but part of what you need in a coach is that sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask to get the help that you actually need. And so unlike ChatGPT, Heights AI Coach is actually going to ask you questions. And then it's going to get information from you. It's going to learn about your business and things like that. And then it's going to give you these tests and recommendations. And it gives you those every week. And it does it automatically. And it'll even send you them as an email. That's my favorite part of it, that you wake up in the morning, you've got an email from your coach to your AI coach. And so as we were building this and as we were improving this, we get on some calls with some of our customers and try to see like, well, is it giving you like relevant recommendations? Is there anything that we can help you with it? And we had this great story of a customer that she says like, yeah, I've been doing great. Like I've been trying to earn $10,000 with my course here. I'm at 7,000 so far, and it's been super helpful. And then we start to ask her about it, and she says, wait, I thought you guys were helping to write those recommendations. And we said, no, we had no idea what it was saying to you. And so we were blown away that she actually thought that we were more involved than we were. And we do have the capability to go in, like leave notes for the coach if the creator says, hey, it's actually going a different direction than what I want and things like that. But the actual recommendations it's giving you is from AI. And so that was an excellent story of success for us so far with it.
That's amazing. I'm thinking, boy, there's so many directions to go here. Let's just quick talk about pricing. Give someone a vision of someone's listened right now, and anybody listening, watching can go to heightsplatform.com, go to heightsplatform.com, and you can see the Heights platform and click through the tabs, and there's great content about what the coach does, about the AI coach, all this stuff. So everybody go to heightsplatform.com and you can follow along. But if somebody, you've talked about the AI assistant, the AI coach, you'd said a third thing you just rolled out. What was that? It was like
the AI lesson review.
The AI lesson review. Someone's listening right now, like me, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like quick, like what's minimum cost to be able to take advantage and play with all this stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So there are a few different subscription plans we have. The most popular is our basic plan and our pro plan. The basic plan is $49 a month or $39 if you're paying annually. Pro plan is $119 or $99 if you're paying annually. Main difference is the pro plan lets you have a custom domain. It gives you Heights AI Coach, and you have our full web page builder if you wanted to use Heights also for building out your whole website. But the basic plan includes all of the Heights AI chat features, the AI lesson review, and all that. And there's no limits on any of the usage of the AI. There's no add-ons or anything for the AI. It's all just included in the plan. So really simple.
Amazing. And then if somebody is using ClickFunnels or, like funnel methodology to promote their courses, to promote their memberships, how do you integrate with something like that? I don't mean to get too techie, but is it an easy integration? Yeah,
it's a good question. So with our pro plan, you can use our website builder and basically build out funnels right there and just use that if you wanted to. But if you already have a website somewhere else on like WordPress or ClickFunnels and you want to keep using that, then all you really have to do is get like the checkout URL of your offer or your course from Heights platform, and then just put that as a button or a link on wherever you want on your website. So it's as simple as that. And then we have the whole checkout handled for you. If you want to use an external checkout, we can still connect to that via Zapier and other things. But probably the easiest is, you just take the checkout URL and put it on your existing website.
Cool. And then the fees you were talking about, I think this is a key point. And just to clarify, so, you pay your pro plan monthly fee. You still would have your Stripe fees or whatever.
So like if you use Stripe or PayPal, they have their own like credit card processing fees, but we don't charge any fees on top of that.
Right.
So there's no like minimum plan you have to buy or something like that to avoid fees from us. We're just always a flat rate.
Love it. What would you like to talk about next? Or I know you've been doing a bunch of interviews. You're super passionate about AI. It's transformed your life. Maybe we could talk about that. You said, well, it really has helped transform my business. So that's been within the last year and a half. So maybe you want to dive into that before, after. I don't know. I want to let you take.
That's perfect because so I just told everybody a bunch of cool stuff about what our product does, but I want to help everybody listening or watching to understand how they could do this directly, even if they're not using Heights platform or have this course or community business. And so Heights AI, like part of the way it can work, the way that it does and do the things that it does is because it has the context and information already about what the creator is building. And so if you want to use ChatGPT, for example, you have to be giving it that context. And people talk about like prompting and things like that. And there's a really simple formula for this that I can share with everybody. So we built the first course about leveraging AI in business and how to create custom GPTs. I was really excited when the custom GPTs first got announced because that embodies kind of my vision of like treating it like your AI team rather than just a single AI assistant. And I wonder if when we last talked, if it was around that time or not, but I was fortunate enough that I got to hear about this custom GPT feature before it was actually announced because OpenAI accidentally leaked the prompt for how the GPT builder worked inside my account. And I wasn't even like looking for it, but I right clicked to view the web inspector thing in Google Chrome. And I had a problem with like loading something in ChatGPT, and I was trying to figure out like, is there an internet issue with me? But like, since I'm a developer, I knew I can check that spot. And then I see there, it's got the text of a file that shows the whole prompt of this thing. It's like, that's not in ChatGPT right now. And I saw one other person talked about it on Twitter, but nobody else had like seen this actual prompt. But somebody else talked about something related to it, so I knew it was real. 2 weeks later, it actually comes out and there's this GPT builder feature. And so since then, we've used that in our team. Our team has a ChatGPT team account. So all of us get to have like a ChatGPT Plus and we can share these GPTs with each other. And to give you an example of what you can actually do with this, because most people don't even know how powerful this can be. A lot of the GPTs in the store, they're kind of gimmicks. They don't really do much for you. And part of that is because for your business, like you have a specific task that you need performed. The GPT in the store doesn't know about that. So we built our own custom GPTs. And as an example, we've got one that is about like, it knows our Heights knowledge base of how the software works. And you can connect these GPTs to your own tools. That's where people are missing out on functionality here, because that's one of the big, like, I guess, hangups for people. It's like, well, I want to use ChatGPT, but it doesn't know about my stuff. So I got to like copy and paste like pages of information to get it to know anything. And by the time you do that, well, I just rather do it myself, right? So we've got this one GPT that is connected with what is called an action for the GPT that allows it to go and use these other tools. And in this case, search our knowledge base. Search our knowledge base and read our support ticket emails. So we can paste in an email address and say, what's the latest email from this person? It'll go and actually read our support tickets, find the email, read the email, and then it'll go after that and then search our knowledge base, find relevant articles, and then draft a reply to that email. And it can do that in just one message, does all those steps in a row. And that is because of this actions feature. And anybody can use this. You don't have to be a developer. When you go to click to create a GPT, there's a button at the bottom that says actions. And it kind of makes no sense. You think, well, what's actions? It's not for me. I'm just going to skip that. But you click actions, and then it gets more confusing because it says like schema or something like that. And it has this open text area. And again, it seems technical, but OpenAI put this button there that says like get help from Actions GPT. And that's their own GPT that they made that understands how the actions thing works. Basically, the actions is to connect to a third-party API. You don't have to know how APIs work or anything like that, but basically it's what connects one app to another. So all you have to do from a user's perspective is find the tool that you want to use. So like in our case, we've got our knowledge base, we've got our support ticket system, and we've got another one for ClickUp for our project management. Just Google the name of that service. So like Google ClickUp API docs. You find the link, either take the link itself or go and copy stuff from that page, and you just paste it to the Actions GPT, and then it gives you the schema of what you need to connect it. And then you just paste that into the GPT that you're creating, and then that can connect it. And then you have to go through like a login process with whatever app it is. But you can do all of that without a developer. And it's maybe going to take like 15 or 20 minutes or so to set it up initially, but like it's worth it, I think, definitely to do that, because what you can do then is you've got the first step where, okay, we had the GPT check our emails, and then it checked the knowledge base and wrote a draft reply. But probably in your workflow, you have to do more things, right? So OpenAI lets you @mention GPTs. And what that means is like you can say @ and then you write the name of another GPT, and you can bring that into the conversation. So after we have the first one from our knowledge base, we have another one that knows it's connected to Heights platform. And so it knows the data about a student and the courses they have, and it can potentially grant them other courses. So you can put in the email, we can say, what's the latest email from this person? Can you like draft a reply for it? And then we say like, okay, well, what access does this person have? We @mention the other GPT, and it can tell us, okay, they've got access to this course, they've been enrolled since this date. And then we could say something like, okay, grant them access to this. And then it can go and do that for us. And then let's say like, okay, there's a lot here. Maybe we need to follow up on this task later on. So we want to have a task in our project management system. So now we @mention our ClickUp GPT, and we say, okay, take all the above, just summarize that into a new task for us in our project management. And then it goes and does that. So all in one conversation, you have this team of GPTs that can do all of that for you in the apps that you use. And that's where it starts to get really powerful.
So that's amazing. I found playing with the chat GPTs that if you, on creating a GPT, that the quality of return degrades the more different steps you give it within the GPT. So if what I'm hearing you say is you create very task-specific GPTs, but then you just mention them, and so it can stay, I don't know if on task is right, but you don't start getting this phantom output. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Where AI is not good is when you give it so many tasks that even though it can fit within its context window and its memory, it loses attention essentially of all the things you told it to do. And so it's better to have these specialized uses of AI where it's got this one defined task and it's going to perform that exactly how you want it. And when you do it that way, it works really, really well. So the secret, I kind of hinted at it. I don't think I said it yet though. So the secret to writing prompts is really just a 4-part formula. You have first your general instructions. So it's what you want the AI to do. Like, what is it? So for us, we might say like, okay, you're an AI that helps people with Heights platform or something like this. So you write out like the general personality of what is the purpose here for this AI. Next, you have your rules and your guidelines. This is the actual like step-by-step things that the AI should do, and also maybe what it should not do. If it's going to interact with the public or as a like GPT store, you probably want to tell it what it's not supposed to do too. But you list these out like step by step, and I like to use Markdown format because AI can understand that and see that, and that's how like ChatGPT is actually responding. If you haven't used any apps that use Markdown, it's basically like a way to use text to represent like a header or that something's bold. So you put like the £sign before a line of text, and that means it's a header. If you put 2 £signs, it means it's like a header too. And so AI understands that. And this is a way that since you can't like manually make something bold or whatever in your prompt instructions, you can write it like that. And the AI understands like, okay, this is a header like for rules. And now I've got like dash first rule or like 1 dot first rule 2 dot, and you make a list. And so it lets you be more clear too of like, here's a rule, here's a rule, here's a rule, rather than just this really long paragraph. So you've got your rules and your guidelines. Next, and this is where people usually miss out. So you probably understand, okay, I should tell it what it should do and give it rules. But next is the response format. And if it's not responding the way that you want it to, it's because probably you didn't tell it. So you can tell ChatGPT exactly what you expect to get in the response, like how long you want the response to be, exactly how it should format the response. And so you might say like, okay, write a single line about this thing first. Then after you've done that, give me a list of this thing. And you can tell it exactly the way you want it to respond every single time. And so you have your response format. And then to be really, really clear to it, if it still doesn't work the right way, the fourth and final thing is your response examples. So what you do here is imagine one question that you would ask or one task you would give to the AI and write that out as an example. Say like, here's something I might ask you, and here's the response example. And then instead of having the AI write it, you write it and write it exactly the way you would want AI to respond if it gave you like the perfect response. The format of it, the length of it, the way it uses whatever reasoning it's supposed to do to figure it out. And when you put that in that initial prompt, now when you go and ask it questions, it's going to follow that for you. And it's going to respond in those ways. And that's where like the big unlock is, I think, for a lot of people. Because when you have this specific task and you're like, I always need these things. I don't need you to write a big paragraph about it. I just need you to write these things out here and figure out from this data, transform it into that. And when you've got the response format, response examples, you can basically, you're almost training the AI yourself just with this single example.
So could the response example be a literal cut and paste of something? So I say, this is what I want it to look like. So, or do I need to re-explain the response format? Does that question make sense?
The response example, it should make sure it's matching the response format. Okay. So like if the response format says do a certain thing, but then you give it an example and it's not actually, you said, give me a list, but you give it a giant paragraph, it's going to get confused and probably mess up on you. But yeah, if you match those two things, then yeah, it'll be helpful. And some people have said like if you're trying to write something or have a certain tone to something, like giving it an example of like something you wrote in there will help it write a lot more similar. But in general, ChatGPT and AI in general is still bad at writing. I don't know if some of that is on purpose so the internet doesn't get flooded with like AI content. But it still tends to want to go into its own thing of using certain words like unleash and unlock like over and over again. I think that's like a clear giveaway. You see somebody has an ad and the headline says unleash blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, ChatGPT wrote that. But what it's really great at is transforming information and analyzing or reviewing information. So like if there was something that you had to do and it's like, well, I would love to do this for my customers or for something in my business. I've got to go through and look at 100 different things and then somehow think about that to categorize it or something like this. ChatGPT is great at that and then can just do all of it for you. So simple little tasks like that either you have to do already or you wish you could do is a great way to use AI.
Okay. Let me walk you through an example. And so when you're talking about the secret to writing prompts, and so let's say I've written a prompt, general instructions, then the rules and the guidelines, then the response format, then the response examples. That can be a cut and pasteable thing that I'm putting into the, submit the Q box on ChatGPT, if that's
yeah.
What
so it's either like the first message that you send to ChatGPT, or if you know you're going to be reusing that, then that's what you paste into the custom GPT that you're building. And that way, every time you start a new chat, it's already got all that information.
Awesome. So one thing that I've been playing with and building out, and you've opened my eyes on the being able to reference other GPTs. So at GPT. So let me walk you through an example.
Sure.
Just now, we're obviously on this interview. So I have a GPT that is, give me one quick second, is the bio intro generator, right? So I oftentimes get these crazy bios from guests, and I specifically want the bio to be like, hey, this is what Bryan does, and this is the value he's bringing to you, right? Where oftentimes will get these crazy like life histories, and it's like that's might not serve so well, right? And so I'm not sure if you were like, oh, that was a great intro or not, but maybe you can't remember.
No, it was good. Yeah. And it wasn't exactly what we gave you. You did change some things. So
Yeah, and whatever, it's personal preference, right?
yeah,
And but I
I'm,
like it.
I'm glad you didn't say the same thing because everybody else then I'm on their show, they say the same exact intro. I don't want that. So
Yeah. And it kind of it gives a little flair, like I say, give a little flair in whatever. But so I've got that GPT, right? Then I've got another GPT that I created called Podcast Assistant. And so I'll throw this interview into Otter AI and create that transcript. And then in my podcast assistant, I, I've created it. So I literally just put the link to Otter AI. So first in my podcast assistant GPT, I put that link into the queue box, or what do we call that? The prompt. I put it into the prompt and it comes back and says, is this you interviewing somebody, you being interviewed, or a riff? And so then it knows what to do next, right? And then I say, oh, it's me interviewing somebody. And this is, so then it creates a new scripted intro that is actually even more tailored to the conversation we actually had, right? So if I want to record a new intro, I can. It gives me a more than suitable podcast title. It gives me the show notes. It gives me a summary and those sorts of things, right? And then, so then when I was trying to have it write my emails to promote the episode, right? And I want it done in a very specific way, like general instructions, rules, and guidelines, the response format, right? I was finding full phantom. It couldn't do step 2. So I was like, oh, I need to create a new GPT that will create the 2 emails. I just want 2 emails, right? That pull out the key things that we talk about, so someone actually wouldn't even need to listen to the episode, but they can if they want to dive deeper. Like they could read that email and go, it pulls out key takeaways, so they could go, oh my gosh, I could literally implement something via this email that I just read. I want to know more.
yeah, so I would put that in a separate GPT, and
Okay.
then I would give that an exact example of the response and like the format and the exact examples of something that either you wrote or that you like that it wrote. That way it knows kind of better what you're looking for, and you can kind of tailor it more to what you're looking for.
Okay. How do you connect those two then? Right, I want to be able to have it go through.
Yeah, so what you can do is when you've got the second one built, then once you get to that second step in your prompt box, you just type the @ symbol and then the name of that GPT, and it'll pop up. And then you just say whatever, say, okay, now write the emails. And then it'll be able to see all the rest of that without you having to make a new conversation and then repaste everything.
Combine it so I don't. Cool. So I could just put reference this at GPT or.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
so you don't have to re-explain it. It's going to be able to read that past conversation.
Cool, because what I've been doing is I will just then start cutting and pasting the email, right?
Yeah, that's when it gets really annoying because you're like, oh, okay, I gotta cut and paste all this stuff, and like you start to feel like once you get the GPTs working for you, if you don't have like the @ mentioning or something, you start to feel like, what is my purpose? All I do is cut and paste things all day.
Okay, so next thing is I've got, now I don't need, now I can create that GPT, the email GPT, my email, right? I actually have it already created, but I stopped trying to, doesn't matter. I will refine that GPT and I'll just mention the @ So the next step is great. Now I find what is so valuable for you, my guest, is that I go, hey, the episode is live. Here's a link. And so what I find is whenever I'm hoping that the guest will share the episode or be able to easily share this episode, is if I'm recreating the content for you, the swipe files. And so I can say, hey, interview's done. Here's a pre-written email that gives a key takeaway that you can share with your audience if you want to promote your episode. Here's the pre-written LinkedIn post. Here's the graphic. Here's the right in a certain style that's just all value, right? So you're compelled to like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's like I'm adding value to my audience and it's making me look great, right? So I'm assuming you would find that valuable if I had that created quickly,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I think that's useful.
So I would just create the third GPT that's like the social media, the guest share, whatever, call it whatever I want. But then I could say,
Yeah.
great, now at guest share swipes or something. And that's how I would connect that. And then I could just keep creating all those chat GPTs to repurpose that content. And all I'm now having to do is write at social share at whatever I'm naming them. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that'll get you a better result than trying to do it all in one message and having one GPT understand all of those different tasks. Because as you said, it's not only about the memory that ChatGPT has of like how many characters it can remember, but just those different tasks. It's hard for it to keep attention to so many different things. And it's the phrase I use for it is like prompt bias, that any words or tokens that you write in the prompt, that's going to influence what comes out. So if you can write the perfect thing going into it, you're going to get a better response coming out. And that's the same reason why people who try like GPT-4 for the first time versus the free version, ChatGPT, they say they're not impressed, because if you say hi to the free version and to GPT plus, like, okay, it said hi back. I'm not impressed. But if you have a task where it's clearly defined and it's more complex, then you start to see like, oh, this one said something interesting, but it's making stuff up. And oh, this said something that's like amazing. And so the words you use are very important, because you want to not be ambiguous in things and not leave things up to interpretation, because then you kind of don't know what you're going to get in response. And an easy way to solve that for yourself without having to sit and write for hours and figure out how to write things perfectly is you ask ChatGPT to help you. So the easy solution for that is I just take the prompt that I wrote and then say, like, look at the below text and then help me identify any areas that might be ambiguous or unclear and let me know what they are. And then it's going to tell you itself what it would think is maybe like open to interpretation. And then you can say, oh yeah, actually, I didn't really define what I'm asking for here, and just use that to improve what you're writing.
I love that. I end a lot of prompts with, does that make sense? And I find that when I put, does that make sense? It cleans up a lot of the output, because it's like, I don't know what process it forces or something. So I will write a prompt and then be like, does that make sense? And then it can clean it up anyway. What was I going to say here? I want to dive more. I want to go back to what you were talking about, where what did you call it? The process button, or what was that? What did you call it? It's you're creating the GPT
for actions.
Yes,
creating custom actions. Yeah, you go to create a custom GPT, and at the bottom you'll see something that says actions, and then you click on that, and on this new screen that it takes you to, there's a big field to enter into the data of how this action works. And at the bottom of that, in the corner, there's this thing that says like get help from Actions GPT. And that's the GPT that OpenAI made that will help you actually set that up.
So I am using Simplecast as my podcast, as my platform that, as my distribution platform for my podcast. Am I able to have GPT like create the episode for me, or do these types of things, or give me a vision of actions again, because I think you gave fairly specific.
Yeah, that's the thing that's challenging. Like I told you what I'm doing in my business, but what
Yeah.
you're doing is going to be specific to you. So what you want to do is I just Googled it here and you just Google Simplecast API and they do have a page about that. And that kind of talks about the things it can do. So you want to see if their API does the things that you're looking for. You don't have to understand any of the development parts or the terms that they're using there, but like they say things about like get an episode, get a list of episodes, get analytics for a podcast, analytics for an episode. So like potentially you could have a GPT that connects to it and say, tell me the analytics for episode 5 or whatever. And then it'll actually be able to respond with that without you having to go to Simplecast yourself. And yeah, so that's the idea. It's going to depend on the API of the software you're using. But like for us in the project management software, we use things like to go and create a new task for us or add a comment to a task or update a task. And for our email, like our support tickets, to read the conversations from those support tickets.
Cool. So any software or hosted platform, hosted software, SaaS software, let's call it. So anything like that, I basically want to find out what their API will let me do. What's integratable. I love that. So it could even
and
be
then if they've got like
anything.
tons of pages about it, some of the APIs are kind of complicated, but if they got tons of pages, you find out the page is talking about the thing it sounds like you want to do, and you just paste that into the Accent GPT. You don't even have to say anything else. Just say like, here it is. You just paste in the URL, paste in the text. It figures it out, and then it writes out what you need.
Amazing. You have just, we could hit stop right now. I'm done, Bryan. Have a great day. See you later. No, this is awesome. Let's see. I know you're passionate about the newbie to people that are using ChatGPT, or I've heard about AI, and ChatGPT falls into the generative AI slice, right? So ChatGPT is generative AI. I believe I'm saying that right. So you've got people that have heard about it or scared to try it, maybe have never even done a prompt. You've got people like me, and then you got people like you that are really leveraging, but I'm somewhere in between there. It sounds like you're really passionate about the person who's never used it, and you're like, hey man, or woman, hey person, like you need to start playing with this because it is going to change your life, especially if you're a marketer, a course creator, entrepreneur, solopreneur. And then you've got guys like me who have started diving into it, trying to take advantage of it. Like, what would you want to, like, you've got a captive audience right now, Bryan. Like you've got that brand new person to a guy like me. Like, what else do you want to say? Like, does that make sense?
Sure.
I want to make sure that like you've got
that's who I want to help with this. And I think what was I going to say about the way to look at this is if you are a solopreneur, you are in an incredible place right now, because there's been all these times in the past where I felt like now's the best time to be a creator, a solopreneur. And then like it goes away. Like the thing that happened, like, okay, it's kind of more normal now. And I kind of feel like, oh man, okay, well, anyone who didn't start, like they kind of missed it. But I feel like it's happening again now with AI. So I'm glad to say like the opportunity is here. And as a solopreneur, I think you're in the best spot versus like a large business, because now like the large business has tens of thousands of employees. They don't need those employees anymore. But for them to even try to figure out like how they're going to start to implement AI instead, like it's a mess. But for you as a solopreneur, now all of a sudden you can have AI help you with all these things that previously you would have had to hire somebody to do. So things you would have needed an assistant for, now you can have it generate images. There's stuff about generating music, videos, everything. So now as an individual creator, you can say, I want to build this ecosystem and this environment of all these different things and these different products around my brand. And now you can do it yourself. It went from like, imagine, okay, figure out how to do all of that. Now I can create, to imagine, create. So I think it's a really incredible time to be an entrepreneur. And yeah, I would encourage people to invest some time into figuring this out, because You don't have to be technical to do it. That's one of the things that's so incredible here. Like I have everyone in my team. I have them working on writing prompts either for our product directly or for something in GPTs our team uses, even if they're not in a technical role, because I want to make sure that they understand it and that they can use it too. And it's really crazy, like that, the hours it's given me back, and also the amount that I've been able to accomplish in addition because of AI. So both with like it helping me to write code for our software, like it's helping me build the AI features we're actually making. And then things like our support, like Heights AI Chat answers thousands of questions every month for us now. And I didn't fire our support team or anything. They're still there, but their role has shifted now into looking at like, what did we get negative feedback for? And then improving the AI so it has better knowledge to answer more. And also it's actually a better experience for us and our customers, because customers who have a really simple question, they get the answer immediately. And a customer who wants to get into like some more involved details, now our support team can help with that instead of being busy telling like where do you go find a button or something like this. So it's really empowering in what it can provide to everyone.
That's beautiful. Quick question. There's the OpenAI sandbox or developer
The
side of
playground.
things, playground.
Yeah.
Is that where, are you all involved in that space? Is that how you are able to create your uh, Heights coach, Heights assistant? Is that how you
Yeah.
execute on that?
So we are using OpenAI's API in our product for like GPT-4 and things like that. Um, but yeah, we're not directly using like the APIs that they provide, but we have like we are for the generation, but they have like an assistance API and things that are meant for like building out your own chatbot assistants easier. We kind of built our own solution around that, and that's part of what allows I'd say Chat to do so many different things. And so with the GPT store, like you can mention these different GPTs. I'd say Chat just kind of has all these tools and things that can use, and you don't have to know like what to mention or what to say. You just tell it what you want, and it figures it out. So we're trying to make it even easier for people that if you ask a question about how to use Heights, it's going to know that it should go and look at the knowledge base and search that. If you ask it, you might say, "Hey, I want to know like how many lesson views did I get 6 months ago?" And it'll actually realize that, and it'll generate a chart for you and show you that. And if you say, okay, I want you to set my course to $200, have it launch in 30 days and make it published, it'll realize, oh, you're trying to actually edit this course. Here, I'm going to do that for you. And yeah, so that's kind of our secret techniques of how we've set it up to do all those different things for you.
I love that. And I guess I wasn't necessarily asking for trade secrets. It's more of out of curiosity. So thank you for answering that and clarifying that, hey, anybody taking advantage of Heights Coach or Heights, these Heights AIs that you've created within the Heights platform, these assistants and things, you don't have to mention or anything. It's like literally chatting an assistant. It's like literally
Yeah.
you're reaching out to your assistant or your coach. So and
And you don't have to explain to it, hey, like right over there on the screen, I'm making this thing, it's a course, and like, it already knows because it's built into the system.
Yeah. More of what I was asking a question of, and this is more of just geeky tech because I'm curious,
Hmm.
as companies like yours are creating their internal chat bots, let's just call it that, I guess, if I'm saying that right, are creating these functional bots for their customers. Um, are you doing that by accessing the OpenAI model, or have you found other
Yeah,
models,
so
or it's
it
none of my
it
business? Or
um no, we mostly use GPT-4. I think that's the best model overall still. Claude's models are really good too, and it depends on the different uses. Sometimes you don't need like GPT-4 for everything, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's the way any like AI tool works in the background is it's kind of a collection of prompts, and we're just giving the right information at the right time into these prompts and using programming to do it instead of you having to manually write it. And that's where AI is going to be going in the next couple of years. Right now, you can control ChatGPT and give it this information, and the custom GPTs let you make it a little bit easier. But imagine in a couple of years from now, you know everything that has to be done. You can define it all once, and you want the GPTs to just work with each other, just do it on their own. And so like Heights AI Coach is like a glimpse of that it's going to automatically give you these tasks and recommendations every week. But I think in the future, there's going to be much more of that where you don't have to message ChatGPT or something. You just say like, okay, I've got this podcast assistant, and it's going to go and do whatever task every single day or every single week or every single second and just help you with those things.
Amazing. Where I'm going to have one final question for you, but before we get to that, what would you recommend for any rookies out there or rookie or intermediate, AI, what am I trying to say? What are good resources for anybody new to Chat GPT or how to use AI or things like that? Like
Sure. So
go.
if you want to hear more specifically of like what I've taught about this, we have a course about it, and that's in our Creator Climb community. It's creatorclimb.com. And we have 3 tiers for that. We just changed the pricing. We made everything cheaper, actually. So there's a free tier. That's our free community of creators. There's almost 10,000 creators there now. And then we've got a plus tier and a complete tier. The plus tier includes our AI course. It's called AI Elevate. It teaches you about how to leverage AI in your business and build these custom GPTs. And I go all in more detail about writing prompts and improving them and setting things up and how you can actually do this. We give you a couple of our custom GPTs that tell you, like you say the task, it's going to tell you how you could have AI maybe help you with that task. And then after it does that, it'll help you actually start a prompt, and you can refine it. And then we've got another one that'll actually check over your prompt for you and things like that based on the guidelines I talked about here today. And that is only $99. It's a one-time payment for that plus tier. You get our AI course, the community. You also get what we just launched is a deals area. So if you're a solopreneur, we've negotiated deals with a bunch of great companies that offer software products to solopreneurs. And we made it exclusively available to members who have paid for that tier. So basically we went out to these companies and said, we don't want you to pay us, or we don't want affiliate commissions. We just want to get a great deal for our audience. And that's in there too. So we've got companies like Riverside. We've got companies like ActiveCampaign for email marketing, AppSumo, Affinity, the design software, a bunch of great deals in there as well. And then our complete tier also has our course about how to build an online course in 30 days. And we do monthly live workshops, and that's $199, and you get lifetime access to that as well. So if any of that sounds interesting, you can start off by joining the free community at creatorclimb.com. And if you want to try out Heights Platform for yourself and try out Heights AI, we have a 30-day free trial for that. There's no credit card required. You can try that out at heightsplatform.com.
So amazing, Bryan. This has just been epic. You've just provided so much value. Creatorclimb.com as a great resource for people wanting to get started with Chat GPT or AI to transform their solopreneur business or workflow, or as you said, it changed your world and gave you tons of time back. Creatorclimb.com, and then heightsplatform.com for a 30-day free trial of Heights Platform, so you can start playing with creating a course. And then your Creator Climb, I'm assuming that's created in the Heights Platform.
Yep. Yeah, everything you see there, the website, the community, the courses, that's all built just using Heights Platform. So if you're not quite ready to build something yourself, but you want to see what you could be building, then check out Creator Climb, even just for an example of that.
Fantastic. So good, Bryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll hit stop and we'll say goodbye offline. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.